I'm Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me? Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Pete Show. I am your host, Pete Orbea, and my subtitle tonight is Ghost Conference Supporter. So we're going to be talking about ghost conferences tonight and some haunted stuff with Oregon Ghost Conference Director Rocky Smith tonight. So I can't wait to get into talking about the Oregon Ghost Conference that's coming up, some of the cool stuff that they've added this year. Looks like a ton of fun. I can't wait for it. But first, I'll give a shout out to everybody listening and watching each week. Thank you very much, and thanks for the comments. It's March 14th. Can't believe it. Time's just flying, and we actually had some sun today up here in Northwest Washington, so that was blinding at first, but nice to feel some sunshine up here. But welcome to the show. Big shout out to Todd Bates, owner of the station and host of Haunted Voices, running the ones and twos. I'm doing the ones and twos tonight, though, so we'll see what happens there. But big shout out to Todd and the station. We're here on WLTK-DB.com. And there are 28 shows, I believe, on the station now. So there's a ton of really cool content all week. If you can't catch the live formats, there's an extensive archive on the website at WLTK-DB.com. Or go to wherever you like to get podcasts from. You'll find the station there, so you can always catch your favorite show. And to help with that, on the website, we have this thing on there where you can sync our show calendar to your calendar. So all the shows will show up, and you customize from there. But at least you'll know when all the shows are coming up each week. So definitely make sure you go through and check that out. WLTKDB.com. If you like this show's intro music, that's my band Steady Rock Cosmonaut. That's a song called Magic. It's one of my favorite songs we do. Check out SteadyRockCosmonaut.com, or wherever you stream music, you can find us on there. We've got one album out there so far. But I hope you're enjoying the music. Next week, on next Tuesday, the 21st, I have father and daughter duo from Big River Paranormal, Jason and Mariah Hassler, coming on the show. And we'll also be talking about Oregon Ghost Conference, since they're usually involved. So we're going to be talking about some of the stuff they do at the conference. And, I had a crazy experience on one of the investigations last year with Jason standing right there. So we'll talk about that, but got them coming on next week. I will be off the last Tuesday of the month, but I am getting closer to episode 100. So that's going to be in April. Depends on which weeks I take off. So I'll be doing some announcements for that. And I plan to do a 2-hour show and have a lot of different guests kind of rotating in and out. So it's going to be a fun night for episode 100 of this show. Again, thanks everybody who listen, download, watch live each week. It's very humbling, so thanks for the support. Things that are coming up, well, this Thursday I'm teaming up with Debbie Romero from Transcend with Debbie for a virtual mediumship demonstration Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and you can get tickets for that through Eventbrite. It gives you all the Zoom link and everything right at portgambleparanormal.com. We've got some people signed up. It's going to be a great time. It's always, gallery readings are always so cool. They're usually impactful, but you have a lot of fun doing it. You never know who's going to come stop by and say hello during a reading like that. So that's coming up this Thursday on March 16th. And so you can get tickets again at portgambleparanormal.com. There's on May 20th, I'm also taking part in a benefit for Mission 22, which is that benefits mental health for veterans. There's going to be over 20 mediums on this event. It goes 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you go to transcendwithdebbie.com, click on the event there. You just have to make the suggested normal donation that's suggested by Mission 22, and then you'll get a Zoom link for the event. I think I'm on at 1:45 p.m. that day, and it's all short sessions, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great cause. And what a nice way to raise money for them. So go to transcendwithdebbie.com for that. It's on May 20th. So that'll be here before we know it, right? There's the OC Paracon coming up, first weekend in October. Honored to be at the first in-person one last year. Can't make it this year, but they're putting out a great lineup, and it's a 3-day conference instead of a 2-day conference this year. So go to ocparacon.com, check out Paranormal Perception Show, hosted by Henry San Miguel, who puts that whole thing together. Him and Unearthing the Supernatural. Those guys put that conference together, and it's growing. It's cool to see it growing. So that's ocparacon.com. And then we've got the 14th annual Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up in Port Gamble, Veterans Day weekend, November 10th through the 12th this year. After the Oregon Ghost Conference, you're going to start seeing some things going for that, because I usually talk to a lot of speakers and class instructors there. So after the Oregon Ghost Conference, which hopefully you're going to, we're going to talk about that tonight, but you'll start seeing details going up for this year's Port Gamble Conference. And you can find info for that at portgamble.com, or go through the portgamble.paranormal.com to get there. I've got a Ghost Walk tour this weekend. It's a 3-hour tour. It sounds like a long time, but it goes by really fast. We need every bit of that 3 hours. But you can get tickets portgamble.paranormal.com. And so get your ticket for this Saturday. Their tours are just a lot of fun. You hear the history and the mystery of Port Gamble, and all of the haunts, and really just interesting history that's here, being one of Washington State's oldest towns. So if you don't know where Port Gamble is, it's on Puget Sound on the west side of it, towards the top. So that's where we're at. And so get your tickets now, portgambleparanormal.com. Well, tonight's guest tonight, we're going to get into it here, because I think we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on with the Oregon Ghost Conference this year. Really excited to have their director, Rocky Smith, back on the show. He was on a few weeks ago, and I just absolutely love this conference and honored to be speaking at it this year. And it's always fun to have a table, and I get to do tours with Rocky this year, leading some, well, I think we go separate ways, but leading with him. So the tours are a lot of fun. I want to talk about that tonight. But Rocky's from Oregon City, born and raised there. He's a teacher, and he's done so much work since his college years at the Ermatinger House in Oregon City, and they're doing all kinds of tours and stuff there. Really neat place. But he also has Northwest Ghost Tours in Oregon City there, and a cool storefront for all that. So, but without further ado, let's get Rocky on the show. Let's get this thing going. Big Paranormal Pete show. Welcome to Rocky Smith. Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm doing well. We were just discussing before the show. You were like, I said, how are you? And you said, since we both put on conferences. Real quick, we got a friend of the show, Mary, checking in, saying hi. Yep, check in wherever you're watching from. Hit the comment section there. So, yeah, Rocky, how are you? How are you holding up?
Well, was it 2 weeks ago? How many weeks ago did you say we talked? I can't even remember.
3, maybe like 3 weeks.
And what did I tell you on that show? I said, don't ask me anything because I don't know what's going on yet. But tonight, Pete, I do know what's going on at the Oregon Ghost Conference, and it's a lot.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Such a fun conference at the Convention Center in Seaside, March 24th to the 26th. Everybody go to OregonGhostConference.com and just take a trip through there and see all the cool stuff that you can do. You and your team have been very busy getting everything booked. So it kicks off on Friday, and then it ends on Sunday. What? Yeah, we got your Facebook page right there. There we go. Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah.
There's the link right there. I'll leave it up for a little bit. I mean, you guys have got so much done over this past month, from the last time you were on the show. And I know what it's like to build a conference, and there's always a lot of, like, one piece has to fall somewhere, and then everything else starts clicking into place. And, you guys have been hitting that stride. Tell us, how many more events did you add this year? I mean, there's a lot.
I don't know.
That's a great answer.
We're a little bit more than we have normal in terms of classes.
Yeah.
But so we're about 30 some classes.
Amazing.
And we have a bunch of little mini events that I just kind of call them mini events rather than classes because they're more experiences,
Yeah.
seances and things like that. Some of those things we couldn't really do very well last year and the year before, where we kind of did some virtual things. So
Right.
this is the year to really, I feel like, get back on track with some of those events. But like you were saying, it's everything fits together, and so there will be one thing that's you're waiting for in order to figure out all the other things, and it's like, okay, no, we can't do this thing until I know the answer to this thing, and then it all starts falling, but it's
Yeah.
so much and it's so complicated.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I want to plan all these events, but then I realize, okay, I can't be at all these events. So how do I actually plan them and synchronize it so that I can still do tours and still do other things that I want to do, but also be there to announce people or to do different things. So, that scheduling is complicated.
Yeah, unless you have, like, a cloning device, to make more of you. That's the only way to make it easy for all that. Yeah, I mean, you guys have added some really cool events. I see you got Genevieve St. Clair,
Yeah, so she's
doing
doing
some hypnosis.
yeah, so we kinda have a hypnotist theme going on that night. She's doing that special event, around 7:30, and then a later night show, Michael Caine is gonna do a hypnotist show, which comedy hypnotist show, which is gonna be kind of, similar to a Halloween show that he used to do. So it's gonna be paranormal themed,
Okay.
and it'll be a lot of fun. If you've ever been to a hypnotist show at the, county fair or something where bring, members from the audience up. So, we've never done anything like that, so we always try to do something new every year, so this will be, exciting. There's tickets available for that. It's 10 o'clock on, Friday night. It's an hour and a half show, and that'll be right at the convention center, so please get tickets for that. It's gonna be, really fun.
It's a paranormal crowd. They should used to be,
Yeah.
being out late, so
Well, yeah, and 10 o'clock is early for us, right?
that's
I'll be
yeah.
doing events till, like, 3 a.m., so that's, like, just the early evening.
Yeah, that's just a brunch time
Yeah,
there.
right.
We got a couple people checking in saying, "Hi, Holly." Hey, saying hi, Rocky and Pete. Thanks for watching. She's one of your big helpers there at
Yes,
the Ghost
they've both
Conference.
been working.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about your team. Real quick, I'll throw in Debbie Romero. Hey, teaming up with her this Thursday night for a virtual gallery reading. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Hey, Debbie. So yeah, sorry, carry on.
Well, so I guess you could say the executive committee, or really, I mean, a lot of people know we have a lot of people that help with various events and different
Yeah.
pieces of it, but in reality, the entire Ghost Conference is coordinated by 4 people. Myself, my friend Holly Swager, Kristen Gray, who, not only helps with basically co-coordinating everything, but also does almost all the social media because, yeah, I just don't do that very well. And, I do a little bit, but she's in charge of that a lot. And then my mom, And so my mom and Holly both, are the ones you see when you come into the front lobby and take tickets and do sell tickets and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and there's other people that have been part of this committee and helping out different things. All the paranormal groups that have stepped up to help. We've had one of the great things that I think that has helped this year more than ever, that I've really had a challenge with, that this year has seemed to fall into play, is we've got a huge amount of sponsors, and we've had a lot of support from sponsors that has really helped a lot. Anything from sponsoring, the stage or the lanyards to the kids area.
Yeah.
So that's been a big piece to help out. So I definitely want to thank all those people for helping sponsor the event.
Yeah, that's cool to see that grow each year. And when you're working with your team, what's kind of what's the best part for you working with your team? Is it like at the end of the conference when it's like, we made it, we did it, we did well, thank God we survived? Or is it, what's the funnest part for you? Is it the anticipation leading up to it? Like, what do you guys have the most fun with?
Oh boy. Well, my simple answer is tacos.
That's a great answer. That's an
Yeah,
acceptable answer on this show.
so. Because other than that, it's a complete roller coaster, Pete. It's like, okay, how's Rocky doing tonight? Is Rocky having a meltdown? Because so our last, not our last meeting, but the meeting before last, I was still talking about all the things I had to do, and someone said, well, we have 3 weeks, and I was like, we have 4 weeks, and they're like, we have 3 weeks, and I was like, oh my God. And I had a meltdown, basically. So that can happen some nights, and then other nights I feel like, oh, we're on top of it, we're doing well. So it kind of alternates each meeting between, oh my God, to like, oh yeah, we're tackling this fine, and it goes back and
Yeah.
forth. But the only thing that forces me, other than Kristen, kicking my butt occasionally, is we meet at a Mexican restaurant, and I love, tacos. So
Yeah.
even if it's bad, like even if I know I'm going to the meeting and I'm not prepared, at least I get my 3 taco combination.
At least you've got
So
tacos.
it's the
Yeah.
simple things, Pete. So I guess on the planning up to the event, it is a lot of bumpiness and roller coaster and, oh my gosh, can
Yeah.
we get this done? And then it comes together. And I think, you know, just the actual weekend of the event, if I can get downtime. I think this conference, I'm going to actually be able to not be behind the desk the whole time, because we've planned a lot of things ahead.
Nice.
One of the things I always look forward to as a group is Thursday night before the conference. We usually go by Bridge Tender and see our friends there as our first night back into Seaside to check
Yeah.
everything out. So it's things like that, and then we usually have a regroup meeting. Depends on how we feel. Maybe a month or two after the conference, maybe maybe a couple of weeks at least, and then
Yeah.
kind of say, okay, well, how did that go? And
Yeah.
yeah. And
Well,
I
it's
think the rest of the group would say, when I treat them for dinner, which I don't always do at these meetings, so it's hit and miss. But I paid for their dinner the other night, so I think that was their
very
joy.
kind. Very kind of you. Well, I mean, it takes everybody on the team, like, all their energy for the whole weekend, and to keep it up, and you guys do it well. I mean, I've been with you in the middle of the night, late night, when you've been up for 500 hours or whatever, and barely eating anything, and you keep it together all right. We you're putting everything into it because you care, and it shows to I think it shows to everybody that attends and wants to be a part of it. And so that's one of the reasons I like it, is what you guys
Yeah.
what you guys put into it, and you're passionate about history, not just the paranormal side of things, but the historical side of things too. And that's a whole other interesting element. So you mentioned a lot of sponsors, and I want to give a shout out to the Portland Ghostbusters,
Yes.
hosting the kids area this year.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, you know these people, I think,
I know
or
some of them.
them. Um, oh my gosh, this is another thing that I have been kicking myself over. I'm joining this group, Portland Ghostbusters. They're the coolest people.
Nice.
I become really good friends with Portland Ghostbusters, and they do a lot of charity work, a lot of charities that I was connected with a long time ago that I really feel like I want to get back connected to.
Nice.
But I don't have the time to build myself a proton pack, Pete. I don't have time to go and get my outfit all together. So Portland Ghostbusters is going to start helping me with that. I think they actually have a surprise for me they have several surprises at the Ghost Conference coming up that I'm going to
Nice.
hang out. There may or may not be a vehicle driving out to Seaside or heading out to Seaside. And the Ghostbusters are going to be doing some cool stuff. But yeah, I'm in the slow process of getting my outfit together because I'm going to join that group. But they
Cool.
have helped with the they've helped with the kids area for the last several years. We had a
Yeah.
great time at the Fan Expo just last what was that last month in Portland.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Talk a little bit about that. What was having paranormal stuff?
Yeah,
How was that received at the Fan Expo?
it was awesome, and I don't know how much they did that in the past. So
Yeah.
Jeff Davis was out there, Clyde Lewis was out there, June Lundgren was out there, Portland Ghostbusters were out there. So there's a bunch of people in that world that did some speaking and things like that. So
Nice.
they gave us some booth spaces in the family or the community area, and in return for us speaking. So I did only one talk that weekend, and my talk was packed. The room, it was a smaller room, 30-40 people, but it was absolutely packed when I got there. I
Nice.
know Jeff had several talks. He did a talk, some author talks, but he also did a talk on Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was cool. And I hope they expand upon it because um, there's a wide mix of things at that event. But it was well worth it. Because they gave us a deal having a booth there. But I probably got 5 or 6 vendors from a fan expo that wanted to come to the Ghost Conference, and we also
Nice.
a lot of other connections there. So it was a blast. It was in perfect timing because it was just a month before
Yeah.
our event.
That's perfect timing,
Yeah, it was
and
great.
yeah, great on the vendors. That's really cool. Yeah, I hope they expand on things like that. Crypticon in
Yeah,
Seattle
they
used
used
to
to do it.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
went out
used.
there for that.
Yeah, I think they call it. Was it the Washington Ghost Conference? I think is what they called it, or Seattle Ghost Conference, or
Yeah, and
it was
Crypticon.
a part of Crypticon.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but they're not doing that anymore, and it'd be cool, and it's neat to hear that the paranormal subjects were so
yeah,
well accepted and people interested in it at an event like that, and you know it's cool that I think there could be more done with that sort
yeah,
of
and
thing, and
absolutely. And I think actually some of those events are looking for it. They just don't know who to reach out to. So,
yeah,
Fan Expo actually reached out to Jeff, and then Jeff kind of contacted a bunch of us to
yeah,
work it out. And if that becomes a regular thing, those of us that are in the paranormal community could easily help some of these events
yeah,
coordinate some sort of area or programming.
yeah.
So
i'm
um,
gonna i'm gonna
that's
try and keep the dates clear for next year.
yeah,
I
this is
couldn't
not
do the
May, I
dates.
think.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
think Crypticon is in May, but I don't know when
Crypticon is May, and then the Fan Expo. Well, it was in February, I
Fan
think.
Expo is February. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully more and more stuff like that. I mean, the Oregon Ghost Conference is like a center for all things paranormal, and all different kinds. There's different kinds of points of view. In the way that you guys have your speakers, there's varying points of view and perspective on things. I think that's really important. What are you most excited about with having so many classes? Like, what does that mean to you for all these years you put the conference on to have this many classes? What does that mean to you?
Um, we kind of debate that about the classes. I like to have a lot of variety for people to choose from, classes to choose from, events to choose from. And so I like to try to have, 3 or 4 things going on at each hour. Um, and, that's mainly because you don't know going into it if you're going to build capacity, right? So, you know, it's kind of hard to plan for a crowd that you don't know how big it's going to be. And so, having the ability to bring people in off the street, you have to have enough events that there's a buffer because, right now we're selling out some events. If we were to sell out every event when we got to the weekend, anyone that's in Seaside wouldn't have a lot of choices to
Yeah.
connect to. So that's part of it. But also the fact is, yeah, you're going to pick and choose, and we're going to have some of these speakers and some of these presenters back. And so you may not get that one class this year, but the next year you decide, oh, well, I can take that class. And same with the tours and investigations. Some of the people have been on the ghost tours before. I'm not actually doing as many ghost tours this year because we're adding a couple more investigations and events, and that'll get people the opportunity to
Right.
try something different. So, it's I try not to do the same exact thing every year. Try to balance that out, but it's a difficult balance because you want to have the classes have a fair amount of people in them, and you don't know exactly which classes are going to be popular or which ones are not. So,
Right.
you want to. So right now we're like, okay, promoting classes and trying to get things, and it's also urging everyone else to help promote their individual events too to get the word out.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, if you're listening or watching this show and you haven't gone there yet, OregonGhostConference.com, and you can see all the classes that are coming up and the speakers. What is it how like what's the challenges of picking speakers each year? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but it is a challenge each year because you want to have there's like a balance you have to have, and it's hard to get there sometimes when you have, you know, tons of speaker applications, right? You
Right,
want to have,
right,
there's you know, people, trusted in the field, that everyone always wants to hear from. And then, you also want to get new fresh perspectives as well. So what's been kind of like your biggest challenge in coming up with the speaker liner or lineup? You know, what's been the biggest challenge?
Well, we do talk about, is that a class that we should repeat again? Is it not a class we should repeat again? And it's not necessarily because the class was received or not, because most of all, we do class evaluations. We hand those out at the conference, and we've always gotten really good reactions from people on our classes. Um, but it'll be something like, okay, well, oh, well, we had this basic ghost hunting class one year. It's like, well, yeah, but we should have some kind of basic ghost hunting class every year because there are people that are coming for the first time. So you definitely have to have some of those classes that you thought, well, gosh, we've done this kind of type of class every year, but yet there's still a need for it.
Yeah.
Um, and then, so sometimes we'll say, well, let's change the name a little bit, or let's change the focus of it just a little bit, so that it might still a class that we've done before that someone's done that's similar might still appeal to a different audience.
Right.
So it is a fine line. Sometimes we get applications. We say, you know what, this would make a better event than it would a class, or this would make a better presentation than it would a class, or vice versa. So
Yeah.
there's some of those. We try to accept all, as many people as we can. And that's, but like I said, that's a challenge. We sit, eat tacos, and we go through them, and we
Yeah.
then we send emails out and we let them know, okay, well, maybe you should think about going this direction with this because this is too close to what we did before, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, there might be times where you have multiple people wanting to do almost the same class. And it's like, okay, well, what take can this person go in a different direction? Because everyone has a
Yeah.
different perspective of even those same topics. So sometimes you can take classes that are similar and have the individual instructors kind of take on their own piece of it.
Yeah, but it's cool that you're allowing as much as you possibly can in the schedule for,
Some of my committee members get irritated with that. I'm like, more. I want to
Well,
put.
let me tell you this. At our venues for the Port Gamble conference, we don't have nearly as many
Right,
rooms
right.
or places. So that's a challenge,
Well,
picking
it is a
from everybody who
and
wants to
I'm
do something, and we only have very limited space. And you
yeah,
guys are on the kind of on the other end of it. You've got a lot of capacity for stuff. So I just appreciate, I'm trying to say, I guess, that I appreciate that you guys are
yeah.
trying to accommodate everybody, because it's a place for sharing ideas and experiences and information, and the more the merrier.
I will say though, and we thought, oh my gosh, this building is huge. And then they did the renovation and added on to it. And we've only had really 1 year back since the
Yeah,
renovation, even though the renovation was done 2 or 3 years ago. Um, we're, I think, reaching capacity and already. So we have over 60 vendors, and that's more than we've ever had.
yeah,
We are filling up pretty much every room. I'm still trying to leave hour gaps in between classes so people can go in and set up. But other than
yeah.
that, we're using that building more than we ever have, and that worries me a little bit because
Where are you gonna go from there?
either we stay at the size that we are, like kind of you have to juggle with in Port Gamble, or do we move again? And honestly, there's nothing right now that makes me want to move from Seaside.
Yeah,
It is such an amazing place, and the
it's
businesses in Seaside are so supportive. And every single person in Seaside is supportive of
yeah,
this event. Well, maybe not everybody, but there's a
the
general
vast majority.
yeah, there's a general interest in having this event there, and people come in. It's I'm not used to planning events like that, and so it's becoming Seaside's becoming a second home in that sense,
Yeah,
where they're just so supportive of what we do and help whenever they can. So I'm
yeah.
really excited to get back to Seaside. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's got the vibe. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
fun. I mean, my family just loves it every year. We got a couple comments here. We got Joss Rose. This year is going to be so
Oh,
great.
great.
We can't
See, he did
wait.
his Ghostbuster outfit in that picture.
Yep. Are you jealous?
Yes, but but he also said he would help me.
Oh, there you
So
go.
yeah,
Josh, help Rocky
there's
get his stuff
probably
together.
there's probably no chance that I'm going to be dressed as a Ghostbuster this year. But
We'll
maybe we'll
see.
see.
We'll
But
see.
we'll see.
The weekend will be young when it starts.
Yeah,
You
if I
know.
get like a couple hours, this is I can sew some patches on or something. I don't know. It'll be like maybe just out of paper or something. I'll make a
There you go.
then I'll be so embarrassed they won't accept me into their
We
group
can
anymore.
make you can make yourself look real punk rock. Paper with, safety pins to your coat. Go punk rock.
Well,
Um,
so one of the fan expo things was the Portland Ghostbusters showing their, how to make all the props and all the. Oh my gosh, it was insane. It's
that's
like
awesome.
it's way over my head.
the
So
well,
you
so
know what?
you,
I really like that, but I don't have the time. Can I
yeah.
just like have someone make this for me? Because that's what I want. And Joss was giving me a hard time. No, you have to do it. I think there's a balance,
I
but
think it's a rite of passage probably
yeah,
to
he's
join
true
in.
to the system.
Yeah, I get that. I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah. Well, hey, we're gonna take a quick station break. When we come back, I wanted to touch on the tours real quick. I wanted to share a strange story from one of my tours in Seaside a couple of years ago that still I can't figure out. And then I want to talk about this new location that you have for investigation. And then also, mention the other investigation places, and we'll just go from there. We can power on through.
Then
We're
we'll
here with Yeah, we're here. It goes by quick. We're here with Oregon Ghost Conference Director Rocky Smith, and we're going to be taking a short station break. Oh, Holly's got a good comment here. Hang on. You have to do that cool Ghostbuster jacket that a certain best friend got you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Maybe I'll go get that during the break.
there you go. All right. Well, we're we're here on WLTK-DB.com. It's Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Obey, with special guest Rocky Smith. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Looking for a holistic solution? Look no further than LimestreetWellness.com. Lime Street Wellness is a full-service Reiki therapy center offering in-person and distant Reiki sessions. Additionally, Lime Street Wellness is committed to helping clients co-create healthier outcomes with hypnosis, QHHT, and intuitive advice. Lime Street Wellness is committed to helping all that are seeking to co-create better health, peace of mind, and greater freedom. Reiki Master Kevin Mackey uses energy medicine, hypnosis, mindfulness, and intuitive guidance to assist in uncovering, understanding, and removing any blocks or energy cords or mental mindsets that may be intruding and causing needless suffering. Visit Lime Street Wellness today at LimestreetWellness.com. That's LimestreetWellness.com.
All right, welcome back to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Abea, and we're here with Oregon Ghost Conference Director and all-around crazy guy for doing it, Rocky Smith. I see you've gone and got a jacket.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I did a costume change.
There you go. Wardrobe. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, another event I wanted to have you quickly touch on is the gallery reading with Sarah Lemos on Saturday night. That's got to be a big event. Sarah is such a good speaker and does really good work in the psychic world. And so, yeah, tell us about that.
Sarah Lemos, wow, I really like her a lot, and a lot of people, well, I think a lot of us know this, but she's from Oregon, or she lives in Salem here in Oregon, and I run into her frequently. Actually, she'll be in Oregon City. She actually stops by my little shop occasionally and says hi when she's going to dinner or whatever. But she's really approachable. I really like her a lot. Very gifted. And so we actually, are super excited to have her doing a gallery reading this year. It's something that we had planned during COVID a little bit. And so this is really exciting for us. And we're selling quite a bit of tickets, but there's still tickets available. And she'll be doing a gallery reading on Saturday night. So that'll be right at the convention center.
Yeah.
So I'm excited,
yeah.
She's been on so many different TV shows, known as for mainly Ghosts of Morgan City, but has made appearances on a lot of other shows on the Travel Channel and other places.
Yeah.
A really great person to talk to and very supportive of all we do. And so I'm really excited to see her.
Yeah, she's a great conference supporter in general. So that's really cool. Looking forward to that. And Holly commented, looking good, Rocky. You got your coat on now. Wanted to touch on the tours really quick because you've been a tour guide for many, many years, doing tours in Oregon City. And then once you moved the conference to Seaside, you had to kind of dig and talk to people and get that, history that's more than what's on paper, for the tours. What, and I've always enjoy doing the tours. It's a lot of fun. I think for some of the same reasons that you like doing it, learning the history of a place, and then going and talking about it and sharing it and bringing it to life, or keeping it alive, so what's what's your favorite stop on the tour so you do 2 different tours. There's like a downtown and Broadway, and then there's a promenade tour as well. And here's some links we're putting up for the tours Friday and Saturday night. Kristen is on it. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is like, she's like producing the show. This is great. Because it's just me tonight.
Keep buying tickets.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I cut back some of the tours. I am going to add kind of I'm going to add kind of a daytime tour to the schedule.
Very cool.
Because you know what? I was looking at the schedule tonight and thought, we got to add more. So I'm going to So I'm going to add a daytime tour.
Sorry to Rocky's team.
Well, actually, so everyone on one of those taco dinner nights that we were doing quite well, everyone's like, "Oh, well, Rocky, we're so ahead of schedule. You're going to be able to do stuff all throughout the day instead of like sitting by the desk and working." So they have me face painting in the kids area.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do a ghost tour. So I'm, thinking I'm going to have all this free time, but we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
But the ghost tours, I had to kind of create a ghost tour of places in Seaside with some investigations and some research. Jeff Davis was a great resource for some stories there too. But me and Aaron Collins had gone to the bridge tender and did a lot of work there. I went to the museum and did a lot of research. So I'll have to say my favorite stop on the tour really is bridge tender, but for many reasons, as you can imagine. But it's also because they've just accepted us as a group and are so supportive of what we do.
Yeah.
The first time anytime I ever drive in or to Seaside or leave Seaside, I always stop by the bridge center and say hi. But one of the places that really has always fascinated me so much about Seaside is the Tillamook Lighthouse or Terrible Tilly. And the mystery and just oddness of the stories surrounding that. And so being able to walk on the promenade of the ocean front and get a glimpse of that. There's always this mystery surrounding the shipwrecks and the ocean. And so I tend to do the oceanfront tours because when you're helping, you love to do the downtown tour. We've had several experiences, and I will say that, as you know, the more you do ghost tours, every year you learn more, and every year you get people on the tour that are willing to share. And when you have a town like Port Gamble for you, which is where you spend all your time, every inch of that town, as I feel that I do Oregon City. But we've been in Seaside now for what? I can't even remember, 7 years,
6, 7 years. Yeah.
And I feel like last year I kind of broke through a little bit. Not that it has always been, the people of Seaside have been always open to sharing their stories and stuff and that. But last year's Ghost Conference, was really incredible because I met several locals that came on my tour that pulled us aside off the road and would tell me stories. I got a new location last year that I got to check out and tour. So what I think has happened in those first 5 years or so of being in Seaside, people now know who we are. They know what our event is, and it's part of their community now. And they have taken ownership of it. And when people take ownership of something and they support it, they are more open to telling you their story. And you can go in somewhere and get to chat with somebody, and that's where the real stories come from. And once you've broken that, you're just going to start getting more and more. And the first couple years in Seaside, we're like, I don't even know if we're going to find a place to do an investigation. And here we are now at multiple locations and a brand new one.
It goes to show you, the community was kind of feeling it out.
Right.
Feeling out what was going on. All right, what exactly is this?
Weirdos walking around Seaside in black hoodies and
but on the other side of that, look at what you have accomplished. Look at the acceptance, and that speaks to not only your side of things of running and operating the conference, but the people that come to the conference too. And that everyone they're not running around screaming in the middle of the night, it shows the quality of people that are coming, that the conference is bringing in, and showing how credible it is and stuff. So it's amazing. I remember like the first year in Seaside, the first couple of years, and you were, it was not a lot of people were talking to you,
Well, yeah, I mean, because it was new, and there were people that were super supportive from day one. And that I think if it wasn't for the support of the bridge tender from that first start of being able to go there, I think that I think they gave us a lot of credibility because they were so supportive and they're so entrenched to the town.
Right.
If I don't know if it would have been so easy. Not only that, but the city of Seaside, recruited us and brought us out there. So there were some diehard core supporters in Seaside before we even started there that I think really helped open the door to that.
Had the right people supporting from the beginning. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you mentioned you have a new investigation place. And so tell us about it. You just announced it today.
Yeah, I just launched it today. Well, so we still have the tickets. Unfortunately, we do one Friday night investigation at the Times Theater, and that's sold out, because it's a small event.
Right.
So the Times Theater sold out. We still have investigations at Starry Night Inn, which is an older Victorian house that's really cool that you've had experiences at. And
really interesting place.
We still have tickets available for the bridge tender investigations on a couple of those events. Those are really late, early morning. And for those of you that don't know about that, the bridge tender only opens the upstairs of the bridge tender once a year, and that's just for us. They don't ever let people up there. So it is a one-time a year thing. So that's
cool.
Always been a tradition. Well, last year when we were at the Ghost Conference at Seaside, I heard from someone at the convention center, because I started dropping hints that, the convention center is maybe going to be to the point where we get at capacity, and, what other areas around town, hotels and places that there are venues that we might be able to use in the future for expanding our event. And one of the people at the convention center says, you need to talk to the new owner of the Masonic Lodge. And I said, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Now, I didn't know where the Masonic Lodge was, but it's just 2 blocks away from the convention center across the Nicanicum River. So last year on some downtime, I met the owner and walked through the building, which is kind of in process of being turned into an event center. So it hasn't been a running Masonic Lodge for some time. They've had several interesting experiences in the building during the renovations. And I right off the bat told him I thought it would be really amazing to start doing some events there. Because of all the events that are going this year and kind of the late hour of planning it, we didn't get too much scheduled in the Masonic Lodge, but we are going to do an investigation. And that's kind of an earlier night investigation because, well, some of ours go until 2 or 3 in the morning, but this is going to be, this is 9:30 to 11. So a little bit of a time for people to get into the building. We hope to, work with the owner next year to do more events there, but they're still doing some construction. So this will get a little bit of an opportunity. And I actually think the daytime tour that I'm planning on Saturday is going to be kind of like, I loved how you said history and mystery. I like to use that too. So I'm going to kind of do kind of a history and mystery tour during the day around 3:00 on Saturday. And that will include kind of a walk around the neighborhood and the going into the Starry Night and to the Masonic Lodge as part of the tour. So that people, because a lot of times in our ghost tours, people don't get to go in the buildings. So this will get an opportunity during the day to take some people that don't want to stay up all night to see some of those locations. So
very cool.
A good thing for people that are off the street that want to do something and buy a ticket right then. So
that's great. And I'm excited to see what happens with the investigation. If it's anything
me too.
Like the one here, the very first Masonic Lodge investigation we did here, there was all kinds of stuff going on, and a lot of people picked up audio evidence and EVPs, and I think some people even heard some of the voices, but so I'm excited to see what happens with that. Just
Well, I will
because,
tell you, when I walked through the building, and I haven't been through there since last year at the Ghost Conference, and so I know
yeah,
they've done some renovations already. Um, but I'll just say there are several places in that building that just were incredible, in terms of just history.
yeah,
But the cloakroom is one of the spaces that I was like, okay, this is a little interesting. It gave me a little creeps in there. Now they have this huge attic space that they're now. When I was there, I had to crawl up a couple ladders to go up and just check out the attic space. But now they're opening up the ceiling, so
okay,
I'm anxious to see how that changes the energy in the building too.
yeah,
It'll be exciting.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what people find at the Starry Night in again. I'm kind of interested to see if some of the same we
Yeah.
we can get some of the same readings, EMF, and certain places in the house, like in the basement. We found some high sources.
Yes. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see like if any of that's changed, how that's going. Plus, I'm pretty darn sure I saw a full-bodied apparition in there.
Right.
um just looked like a regular person, or
Well, that reminds me. So we also have, because we are cram packed every inch of the schedule. So if people don't want to stay up late into early morning, they can just wake up early in the morning and come. Karen Frazier and Jeff
yeah,
Davis are going to do what we call paranormal perks. So Saturday, Sunday morning, you can come join us at the Starry Night to have coffee before the event. There's tickets available for that, and they can.
that's awesome.
Karen's going to talk about crystals and some of her books, and Jeff's going to talk about weird creatures and things in Oregon mysteries and things like that. So um, that's fun because the core group that plans this event all stay at the Starry Night. So we get up and go have coffee next door and talk to people and then run over
Yeah,
to the convention center to start opening it up.
yeah, and Karen and Jeff are such great speakers and
Yeah.
super knowledgeable about everything they talk about. Any topic they talk about, they know about it. They know everything about it, and so what a cool opportunity.
Yeah, you may get there at 8:30 for like coffee and realize it's noon.
Yeah,
And you're still
exactly.
talking to Jeff about Sasquatch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, I can't wait to see him,
Yeah.
and he's a good friend on this show, and comes on often, and he always gives me a hard time for throwing him hardball questions, so I gotta come up with a good one when I get to the conference. But and we got Joss Rose coming. Last year we were getting Robert in our spirit box, and
Yes.
that's in regards to the Starry Night. Yeah.
No, that's
Oh,
actually, well, I think that was Bridge Tender.
oh, was that Bridge Tender?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's some of us that believe that that might have been Rob St. Helen, who we lost.
That's
Right around
yeah,
there. He was a good friend of ours who worked with the Ghost Conference quite a bit,
yeah.
and at the Bridge Tender, and we kind of celebrated his life during the Ghost Conference, and that came up a couple times and made us wonder. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that that's exactly the way we picked up on that, but a lot of us believe that that's possible.
Well, if it wasn't that particular moment, he
Right.
was there for other
Oh, for sure.
moments.
For sure.
Yeah, he was there for other moments, and yeah, great guy. That was a big loss. But well, that's interesting. They were getting Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, the downtown Broadway tour, another experiences. The whole entire group. They were all of a sudden up by Seaside Brewing, up on the roof. There was like a live band playing all of a sudden when we got there. It was like
Right.
quiet, and then we get there, and then there's this live band playing on the roof, and it was a live band because they were kind of out of tune, and the singers were kind of out of tune. It sounded like a live deal, and we actually had to move from the space because it was so loud. I wasn't able to talk about the stuff on the tour right there, and then it just seemed to stop, and then there was nothing. And we contacted the owners of Seaside Brewing, and they had all left 2 hour like an hour before. The whole place was locked down an hour before we even got there.
Yeah, and
And
at
that
that at that time there wasn't. There's another place on that block now, but at that time there wasn't. It was
there's another place a block
last
and a
year.
half
Yeah,
south of that, I think,
yeah.
and they did not have live music that night. I called the places because I was like, that is so weird. I mean, I play music, I play gigs, I play live, concerts, and it sounded like a live gig going on, and then it was just not there. And then the place is like, yeah, we were closed an hour before you got there. Like, there wasn't even any employees there.
And last year we didn't even get a ghost band. We got really bad karaoke from across the street.
That was pretty awesome. And Monique Rose just comments, last year's karaoke was almost so spooky. Yes,
yeah.
indeed.
Karaoke.
But it was so weird. I don't know what that whole deal was. Like, did we just catch a glitch in the Matrix or something? And like,
I don't know.
like a performance from the late 90s up there was going. I mean, that's what it sounded like. So yeah, very, very strange. We had an experience.
Because it was, you think it was coming from the roof of the brewery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was like the sound was coming down
Right.
on us. And it was like, and we had to move because I could not yell loud enough over it to talk. And so we moved, and then it was just gone. Like, hey, where'd the music go? And then there was like nothing else after that. It was such a weird deal. Yeah, that it's so cool when that stuff happens. And when, maybe it's the group of people, maybe we manifested it. I don't know. I don't care. It was cool. It was weird and spooky and cool. We had an experience outside the bridge tender.
Yes.
With someone on the tour who just got ice chills through her, froze her body after she played Dancing Queen outside, which is a song that is not liked by the lady in the bridge tender. That was really interesting. And the EMF meter spiked right before she had that experience. So she played the song for, just to see what would happen. And then the EMF meters all spiked. And then she got frozen for a few seconds and just filled with emotion. It was you felt bad for her at first, but she was okay. But, wow. You never know. I mean, just on these tours, you can have experiences. It's crazy.
You've reminded me of another favorite thing to do, which is I like to run into bridge tender and hang out there. And then right 5 minutes before I leave, I like to put $20 into the jukebox and just put Dancing Queen on 30 times.
Oh my God. You're that guy. And then the place gets torn apart by a spirit. Right. Yeah, way to go.
But Bridge Tender is going to have drink specials during the weekend, and Bridge Tender is also good. We're going to do kind of a get together there Thursday night, 8 to 11. So if anyone's in Seaside on Thursday night, drop by the Bridge Tender and say hi. We'll be there for a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You've got such a fun conference coming up. I can't wait to be there. I get to speak on Friday, helping with the tours Friday night. I'm looking forward to that. But it's always an honor to come be a part of the conference, and I thank you for having me be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And my gosh, yeah, we're pretty much out of time here. So tell everybody about tickets. You get everything at the website. How does that work?
Yeah, you can find all the tickets online at OregonGhostConference.com. That does not mean that you have to buy tickets ahead of time. You can watch the website. I'm trying to put up events where tickets are kind of getting limited, and we're kind of keeping track of that. But don't think that you can't just drive out. You can drive out to Seaside even if you want to hang out for the day, general admission tickets, or you can find out what events are available and buy tickets right on site too. So we should be able to deal with that right at the door or online, either way.
Awesome. So you can just come out for the day, cruise out, and
if you want to stay overnight, go to our website. There's links to hotels. All the hotels still have. People think the hotels are full. They're not. There's still plenty of rooms available. So Call the hotels. It is a little spendier during spring break, but you got links on our website to the hotels that we work with that'll give you discounts. So
yeah, there's good discounts on there. Every year there's good discounts on there. So thanks for doing that. People who travel in, I appreciate that very much. But yeah, check out all the places you can stay. Hopefully you'll stay for more than just a day. Seaside's got a lot more to do than just in one day. And the Ghost Conference for sure is action packed all weekend. Rocky, to you and your team, congrats on this epic conference that you've got put together, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Tell the hotels you're with the Ghost Conference. That's how you get your discount. So thank you, Kristen, thanks for being on point tonight with all the links and everything. It's very helpful. I'll send you a producer check.
And if anyone's going to be in Seaside after the Ghost Conference, I'm actually staying in Seaside the spring break. So after the Ghost Conference throughout that week, I'm going to be doing tours in the evenings on spring break after the conference that week. So,
nice.
Yeah,
we're going to be staying a couple days after too to hang out and enjoy Seaside because it's such a fun time. We're out of time. Rocky, thank you so much for taking time again to come on the show, talk about the Oregon Ghost Conference. You've got so much going on. I know I can commiserate with you. So I'm right there with you. But looks like such a fun conference. That's OregonGhostConference.com, everybody out there. And we're on WLTK-DB.com. And don't forget, next Tuesday, I've got Jason and Mariah Hassler from Big River Paranormal, the Oregon chapter of TAPS, coming on the show. We're going to be talking about investigations at the Oregon Ghost Conference and some of the places in Seaside. And I'm sure we'll get into some other places as well. But with that, I want to leave you all with the sentiment of being present. Rocky, you might need this too, of take a few moments each day to be present in that moment. Hug the people you're with. Don't worry about yesterday. Quit worrying about what you got to do tomorrow, but take a few minutes each day to be present. And we'll see everybody next week on the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter O'Brien. And again, special thanks to Oregon Ghost Conference Director Rocky Smith for coming on. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we'll see if I can do the technology to get us out of here. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week. And Rocky, can't wait to see you towards the end of next week. It's gonna be great, man. I'm so stoked for it. We'll see you then.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.